What is going on, Movie Meals? Hope everyone is doing well out there. But before I get into the review for Copshop, let me take the time to thank our Patreon supporters, Steve, Kimberly, and Karen. Thank you guys once again for being supporters of this channel. And if anyone else wants to support this channel too, we'd love for you guys to be part of the Movie Meal family. We have links down below for our Patreon page, our merchandise page, and as well as our Letterbox accounts where you can follow the movies that we're watching and see other reviews that we aren't able to post on this channel as well. So the plot of Copshop is centered around a con man who's trying to escape from being murdered after a con goes wrong, and in doing so, he gets himself arrested and thrown into prison. But the hitman that is after him does the same plan, and so now they're in opposite cages or opposite cells, not cages. They're in opposite cells trying to see who is going to make the first move. And while doing that, a rookie cop is getting to the bottom of this bigger conspiracy that's revolving around the con man and the hitman. And what I really liked about this movie, I ended up really being pleasantly surprised by this movie, actually. I just saw it on a whim, and what I really enjoyed about it was that it was able to find the right line between taking itself seriously and also being over the top on a level to where it kind of comes off as cheesy, but in the right ways. And I think I was mainly seeing that through kind of like this gritty Western aesthetic that was going on throughout the whole movie because it's centered on a really small jail in a really small town was with a Western aesthetic in the background. And on top of that, it works well as that gritty Western feel, a gritty modern Western feel, but it still has these performances that come across as cheesy, but you buy into them. And that mainly is coming from Frank Grillo and Gerard Butler. The both of them play off of each other well. You can tell that they're having such a great time throughout the whole movie. And you just are able to buy into them. They have enough characteristics about them to where you enjoy watching them, but you don't necessarily root for them. But there's also this level of not being able to tell whether they're being truthful or not, to whether they're not being honest, and it leaves for some mystery and doesn't reveal too much about their characters until the right moments. And while it feels very cheesy and over the top, at the same time self-aware, there's still a grounded element to this movie, particularly with the action and from the performance of Alexis Louder, who plays the rookie cop that I mentioned before. And Alexis Louder is excellent in this movie. I'm really curious to see where her career is going to go after this because I bought into her as the protagonist. She mainly is who we're following as compared to the other characters that I mentioned before. But you just buy into her as the protagonist. She has this really great idea of being the tough as nails cop who takes her job seriously, but yet at the same time, there's a humane level to her to where you really want to sympathize with her at her worst moments, but also be able to root for her when she's able to have her triumphant moments at the same time. And it just makes for a nice balancing act. It's not too over the top of a movie. It's self-aware enough to know like what type of movie it is also, but with that grounded element from her performance, you're able to really buy into the movie and really feel the stakes of the premise that's being played out as compared to it just being overall a ridiculous movie and you just get tuned out of it after a while. And going back to the action, while it's not, it's not the most creative, but it is realistic and it is well shot to where you can feel like you're a part of the action. You can feel and be able to comprehend too what's going on throughout all the action sequences. And on that level, they're done really well. I mean, we've been if you look back on some of our previous reviews, we've talked about, the differences in action between the likes of Snake Eyes and Shang-Chi and what works and what doesn't work. And with this type of movie, you can really tell that they knew how to film action. And it is from the director, Joe Carnahan. I believe that's how you pronounce his name. And you can just see that he has a knack for action. And that shows with his filmography as well. Like, you can tell that he understands how to do it in like that gritty, realistic approach as I was mentioning for this movie earlier. And I guess when it comes to the negatives, I mean, there's not really much you can say. What boils down to it is if you're going to like this type of movie or not. And if you think this is up your alley, then I would suggest checking it out because I ended up having a great time and got my money's worth. But for some people, it just may not work. They just may prefer some other type of movie. I guess the real nitpick would be maybe it goes too long, and the ending feels like it has multiple endings. That's a little bit unnecessary, but Beyond that, though, it's just based on your preference. If you think this is your type of movie, then I say go for it. If not, I can be understanding of that. But I would recommend it if you've seen all that you've seen in the theaters, and if you just want something new, and this would be a good movie to do that. So anyway, that's my quick review for Copshop. Thank you again to our Patreon supporters, Steve, Kimberly, and Karen. And guys, please be sure to like, subscribe, share this channel, check out all of our links down below. And as always, thanks for watching Alex's Mom.